Welcome to Best Practices Toolbox. This is part 4 of our ongoing series of how to renovate your data submission program. I'm your presenter, Dawn Carter, so let's get started with part 4 and the final installment of our series. So for today's agenda, this of course is the final webinar in our 4-part series, which has been focused on the best tools to have in your risk adjustment renovation toolbox based on CMS best practices. The tools we will discuss today include an instruction guide, measuring tape, and a drill. And these particular tools will help educate stakeholders on these and other strategies. So tool number 10 is an instruction guide. Some might argue that an instruction guide isn't actually a tool, but I'd say that you have to have one handy just in case one of your tools doesn't work or you need some guidance on its functionality or how to fix it if it breaks. Similarly, there are resources available from CMS that serve as helpful instruction guides that are a very important part of any toolkit. Although CMS does not conduct as many user groups nor implement as much operational change as they once did, it is important to be able to attend the user group calls that they occasionally conduct, as well as monitor the HPMS listserv for pertinent memos. The HPMS listserv is the primary way that CMS communicates operational change related to EDPS, as well as other risk adjustment related guidance. So it is extremely important to have a documented process for consuming the HPMS content and then assessing, documenting, and communicating impacts to affected and interested stakeholders. You must ensure that the right people have access to the HPMS memos and that you select the right people to attend the CMS user group calls when they are held. A whole army of the wrong people receiving these memos or attending these calls can do more harm than good. Generally, the most important person to have access to the user group in HPMS is the person with overall operational accountability for EDPS and/or risk adjustment. And a few key others should also be included, depending upon the organization of the risk adjustment operations and MAO in general. For tool number 11, we have a measuring tape. Determine how your submissions measure up. Now, I had mentioned in a previous installment of our Toolbox series that it is very difficult to monitor what you don't measure. Hence, it is appropriate to include a measuring tape in our toolkit. And in fact, it is rare indeed that you find anyone's actual toolbox without a measuring tape. Knowing how your submissions measure up is critical to operational and financial success. And a simple dashboard with basic metrics for completeness and accuracy is all you need to successfully do this. As mentioned on a previous installment of the series, the quarterly and annual reporting that CMS provides should be the foundation of your internal metrics and input into your dashboard. At the very least, you should be able to show that for every eligible adjudicated claim from a provider, which we call the claims universe, there is an accepted EDPS submission, which we call the EDPS universe, and when appropriate based on provider type, a corresponding RAPS submission. When there are gaps, there should be root cause analysis and an action plan to address them. Also included should be the risk score impact of data that is rejected by CMS, because this information will drive the prioritization of error correction activities. There are many other metrics that should be included as part of a basic dashboard, so be sure that you are using your CMS metrics reporting as the guide for what you are including on yours. It will then be much easier to know exactly how your submissions measure up and to not be surprised by what is on your CMS reports according to their measurements. And last but not least, we have a drill, the ability to drill down into discrepancies and into key analytics. As the EDPS and RAPS parallel submissions requirement continues until sometime in 2022, there are some special analytics that are critical as an important input into understanding the full operational and financial picture. We call these EDPS and RAPS comparative analysis, and it involves ensuring that for every EDPS submission, there is a corresponding RAPS submission, depending upon the provider type, and vice versa. And the ability to compare the MAO2 and MAO4 reports is also a critical input for the analysis of any gaps between the two. The proper attribution of the root cause and the associated dollar value of the gap is important for the prioritization of gap closure activities, particularly as sweeps deadlines approach. Some health plans also like to drill down into even more specific details for the gaps, such as specific members and providers, to identify trends and develop specific action plans. Hence, a drill is a useful tool to have when trying to gain the most meaning from the data that is necessary to understand the full picture. So as a brief recap, here are the tools we discussed today. Though you won't likely find any of these at Lowe's or Home Depot, there are vendors out there such as Centauri who can help equip you with the right tools for your specific renovation project. Thank you for joining us for our last installment of our short webinar series, and hopefully your risk adjustment renovation project yields increased operational and financial success.